Hey everyone, this is Jason at Grand Slam Sports Cars and Comics from Loveland, Colorado, here in my domicile where I like to talk about comic books for an extensive amount of time where I won't be interrupted by people coming into my store constantly, because that's a thing. So here we are. This is going to be another episode of To Hold or Not to Hold. I'm a little bit behind, about 3 weeks worth. So you're going to get kind of 2 weeks in one in this episode, and then I'm going to do the most recent one in an own episode. So hang on. I'm here to tell you about the number ones and which ones I like and which ones I'm going to not probably get on my hold file. We'll start from the beginning. Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. I did not read the first series of this. And honestly, the thing I kind of told people is I was kind of turned off by the art on it. So no offense to Henderson. I know she did art for her name is Erica Henderson. No offense to her or anything. I didn't find the art style as appealing. It's a little cartoony, and it's hard for me to kind of figure out what's going on with some of the characters sometimes. Having said that, this book is not for me. It's weird because then the thing I tell people is like, I try to pretend that I'm caught up and I'm on hip. I'm a hip kid with all the internet stuff, but man, I feel like this is beyond my generation at this point. A lot of weird references in here, a lot of internet-y stuff, a lot of tropes, referencing things, memes, and stuff you would see online. It just wasn't for me. I couldn't really get through the whole book. I think I got like 10 pages in, and I was just like, there's like writing at the bottom of every page. So I don't know if that's something that the kids like. And what I mean by writing at the end of the page, like, I'll just show you like at the very bottom, there's like a little stuff there. It's jokes. It's jokes for people. It's a character that I'm not super sold on. I've enjoyed her in the past. Brian Michael Bendis wrote her as like the caretaker of some kids, as a babysitter. I always thought that would be a more interesting thing, but she's doing her own thing. She's a superhero. She's in Avengers. She's in an Avengers team now, so not much to talk about there. That is one I will not be putting on my hold file. Howling Commandos of Shield. This one, this was very unappealing. Horror. There's kind of horror stuff. They're fighting monsters, has some Dum Dum Dugans alive somehow that keep them alive. There's androids, crazy monsters and zombies, and Man-Thing. I think that's Man-Thing shows up. Man, if you're into monster books and S.H.I.E.L.D., the agents of not the Howling Commandos, this might be something that you want to get into. I was not drawn in immediately. I was not like, oh my god, it's monsters and it's these cool members from S.H.I.E.L.D. It was just kind of yeah, this is a book that I think will appeal to some people, but I don't know exactly who. I don't know. We'll see. This is one I probably cannot put on my hold file. Nova number one. Nova is going to be getting a big push in the all different Marvel. Sam Alexander, he had a good run. I think it went about 31 issues. Interesting new character. Kid Nova has a dad. His dad was missing or kind of alcoholic or whatever. And so I might be getting my stories mixed up. But anyways, he does Nova stuff. He flies around and is awesome. He's a teenage kid. I think they live in Arizona. And he's just awesome. Really cool superhero guy. This story, kind of very generic type of story. It kind of follows him at school. He's working with his dad. His dad's also a member of the Nova Corps. He's kind of got the old school, we got the old school gold helmet versus this helmet. And there's cool galactic stuff here. They're not really in a galaxy. They're fighting here. And yeah, Sam's about, dealing with his personal stuff. His dad works in mines, I haven't been blown away by a Nova story yet. I know there's a lot of people that like Nova out there, but it's not something that I've been into. But it's kind of weird because I've been getting at all the galactic stories like Guardians of the Galaxy, all those characters, Silver Surfer. There's a lot of really cool galactic stuff out there that they've really pulled me in. It was something I never thought I would like at Marvel, and now I'm all about Thanos and Warlock, all these characters. And Nova's just not one that I'm like, man, I want to read more about Nova. So I haven't really been compelled to get into this one as much. But for some of you, you might still like Nova, and you might like Sam Alexander. You might find him to be a really cool character. So I'm going to pass on that one, but doesn't mean that you probably shouldn't get it. Drax #1. All right. My favorite, the best in the world. CM Punk is writing this book. I'm a big wrestling fan for one reason or another. He doesn't wrestle anymore. He's an MMA fighter, and he's writing comic books. How cool is that? So Drax, you get the idea. I mean, he knows Dave Bautista, who played Drax in the movie. So you're just thinking, oh, what a total inside job this is going to be. And the co-writer on this is Cullen Bunn. So I get the feeling that Cullen Bunn, who knows a lot more about the comic industry than CM Punk, is doing a lot of the scripting, and maybe CM Punk's just coming up with a story. This one basically features Drax. He's, kind of figuring out his way in the world. He's on a team, and, Guardians of the Galaxy, and sometimes they break up and go off and do other things. So now Drax off doing stuff himself. And when Drax gets bored, he wants to go kill Thanos, because, if you know anything about Drax, his origin is Thanos. Him and Thanos have the same origin. He doesn't really like Thanos, and he's always fighting him. That's basically what you see in this book. He's like, oh, well, you guys are bored? Yeah, it's fine. I'm going to go kill Thanos in my time. So this isn't the book I was looking for. It was a little jokier than I would have liked. I was really hoping for kind of like, I wanted the Thor treatment for Drax, because, Drax's character, he's got all this pathos and, all this angst. His family was killed by Thanos, and he wants revenge, and he could go on this, like, Herculean task of, like, having to seek his revenge or go after, the minions of Thanos and all this stuff. Maybe that story's been written, but it hasn't been written recently, and Thor has all that. They've done all that stuff with Thor, and it did very, very well the last few years, the Jason Aaron run. So I think they could have done really something. I think it's a missed opportunity. If this book wasn't for me, I'm going to get it because I love wrestlers. So I'm going to keep reading it. I also like all the Guardians of the Galaxy. But this one's I'm not sure if this is this is not the book I want it to be. This isn't the Drax that I want, but maybe it's the Drax we deserve. I don't know. Angela, I get everything Angela. There isn't really much to say other than Angela, Queen of Hell, #1, it transfers over what happened during Secret Wars Angela stories. Very beautiful art, very well written. This has a lot to do with her relationship with Sarah and finding out that they're a couple, they're a thing. And, you have, Angela is kind of in hell doing stuff. She took over the job that was actually in the whole, last thing, the whole story arc from Secret Wars. So some of that's converted, some of it hasn't. But in this one, we kind of see what's going on with her and Sarah and their relationship. Pretty cool stuff. I'll get this book. Marjorie Bennett's a great writer, incredible writer. So I really like her. She likes to write comics. So definitely get that if you were into Angela. I've been enjoying Angela. Hercules #1. This is the book that I don't think anybody wanted. I don't remember people clamoring for, man, we need a Hercules book. There might be some fans out there. I liked Hercules. Greg Pak did a run back in the early 2000s after the whole Planet Hulk thing, I believe, and he was teamed up with Amadeus Cho, and it was hysterical. It was a hilarious book. Hercules tries to do things. Amadeus Cho is his partner. In this one, we find out that Hercules is kind of like, he's doing his stuff on his own. He's trying to become a cool, heroic type again on his own. He's kind of changing his whole gimmick, and he's trying to be a little more modern. And he has kind of his own heroic detective agency, kind of like a Heroes for Hire, except, it's more, old-timey Greek in nature. And, he'll do favors for people if they give him gifts. And so we find out that he's rooming with Gilgamesh, which is awesome. I like the idea of just Gilgamesh he kind of bums around on a couch watching TV all day. He doesn't know what to do with his life. And yeah, he goes off, and Hercules does his own mission. He helps some kids out. He runs into a horrible monster he has to fight. And Hercules, it's if you like Hercules, you're gonna love this book. I like Hercules a little bit. I am probably gonna keep getting this book. I don't know for how long, but until it's just like this isn't what I want it to be. But this is cool. This is definitely a cool book. If you're looking for a cool book about Hercules, get Hercules. Right here is Howard the Duck #1. The last volume of Howard the Duck was completely awesome. We had that stinger at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy, so like here it is, Howard the Duck down your throat. And Chip Zdarsky is a comic genius. If you haven't read Sex Criminals, one of the best books of the year last year and this year. Still a great book. He does the art for that. And his comic timing and his writing, his creativity comes over to Howard the Duck. We have great art in here, great comedy, fun stuff. If you like dealing with the Duck, Howard the Duck that talks, good stuff in here. I would definitely recommend this book. At the end, we are introduced to a new character that people are going to be freaking out about. It's Spider-Gwen, only Deadpool Gwen. We call her Spider-Pool or Gwenpool. Her name is Gwenpool. People are going to be freaking out about that. We also had a couple other new characters at the end. I don't want to spoil that stuff for you, but there's a side story at the end that introduces Gwenpool. Get this book if you like funny stuff, if you like, quack, if you like funny stuff, it's a quacktastic title. A couple more here. Extraordinary X-Men #1. Number 600 came out, so finally we put the last era of X-Men behind us. This picks up right where it leaves off. Extraordinary X-Men #1. I didn't know how much of a flagship book this was going to be. Coming into this, I was like, I don't know. It is written by Jeff Lemire, great writer. Humberto Ramos' art is very top-notch here. Normally, I don't like his stuff. It's a little accentuated. It reminds me of Chris Bachalo, except a little more cartoony. But his art here is really on point, and he probably had some time to work on it. I quite enjoyed it. Once again, it reminds me more of Bachalo in this one. They have very similar styles. That might be incorrect, but that's just kind of where my take is on that. This is basically, we're putting together a new X-Men team. It's a great X-Men team. Jeff Lemire is using some of the best characters ever in the history of the X-Men. You can see it here: Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Wolverine. Hey, that's the all new, all different X-Men. Colossus' sister, Magic, and of course Jean Grey, who is the greatest X-Men of all time, and Bobby Drake, who's super cool. See what I did there? Really cool book. It's a setup book, obviously. It's putting the team together. We're getting the team together, and we're going to go do stuff. And we find out some interesting stuff about what's going on with Terrigenesis, if I haven't talked about it yet. It's a big stinger that the Terrigen mist that has covered the planet and is affecting everybody. It affects the mutants in such a way that it's making them sick. So they're going to have to find a solution to all of this. And that's important. Beast is kind of trying to work on a cure, but Beast is kind of a pariah because of what happened in issue 600. So, totally cool book. I wasn't sure about this one at first, but now I'm like, this is going to be the big flagship book. This might be the key X-Men book to be getting. We'll know as the X-Men continue to develop. But the X-Men are alive and well. Don't you fret, people who like X-Men books. They are alive and well. They're going to be kicking butt. And, did I mention Old Man Logan just shows up at the end? No big deal if you're an Old Man Logan. This is my pick of the last 2 weeks. This is the best new #1 I've seen. That's right. I'm talking about the Vision. At first, I was like, Vision? Really? He's getting a comic book? Vision? He was in the movie. People are trying to... This book has nothing to do with the Vision from the movie, the style of Vision that it is. Vision's an intriguing character. He was married to Scarlet Witch at some point, and that's kind of weird, and they thought they had children, and that was even weirder. And Vision's just a cool guy. He's an interesting character, and he's not a character I know a lot about. I haven't read he was actually very devoid from the Brian Bendis the Avengers run, which I've been reading. That's what kind of got me back into comics. So you kind of missed out on Vision in the last 10 years. So this book is it's unique. I've never read a book like this before. It's a very interesting read. Basically, Vision apparently has moved to Washington, D.C. He's going to be an envoy between the Avengers and the United States, the President of the United States specifically, telling them this is what's going on. He's like the advisor. He's moved to Washington, D.C., and he has a family. So he's moved into a neighborhood to kind of fit in with everybody, and apparently he's made his wife and his children. And he's just like, all right, well, cool. I'm just going to, all right, kids, I'm going off to work. I'm going to go advise the president about all the crazy Avenger stuff going on. And it kind of follows the life of these people. But the way the book is written, it's in third person, which we don't see a lot anymore. That's kind of an old way to write comic books. That was the Stan Lee way. But it's written in, it's a unique book in how it's written and what it's like. So I recommend this. It's serious. It's not a funny book. It is definitely like, But you'll have some moments where you're like, haha, that's kind of weird. So that's it. Those are my picks for the week. I am out of time. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video I'm about to do.